Hi, I'm Caren. Welcome to Texas Farmstead Living. On today's video, we're going to share with you, did our off-grid house pass the ultimate test during Texas winter storm 2021? If you have been watching our channel for very long, then you have caught glimpses of our off-grid 1870s vernacular farmhouse built of stone by the Texas Hill Country German pioneers. Our farmstead home is not our main home, but is located close by on our farm. A few years ago, we lived in this home to practice wood stove cooking and living without a hot water heater, but this was a controlled setting, definitely not an emergency. This home stands ready to use at any time, and we have tried our best to think of everything. We are a few days post Texas winter storm 2021, and while it was fresh on our memory, we wanted to share with you some of the things that worked well and some of the lessons we learned during this very trying time in Texas. This was a historical event in my county, and I really had never, I guess this particular scenario had never, I had never done a dry run through. But let me begin this video by telling you, for the last 20 years, I have been, trying to learn to live off-grid and try to learn to provide everything that my family needs to live. So I want to be self-reliant and self-sufficient. So we had, lots of practice, lots of lists, but we still learned some things. So I thought it would help you in your journey to becoming self-reliant. So as we go through the video, Mr. Rueffer is going to share 5 things that I think are really important that we're going to touch on. So we're going to touch on water. We are going to talk about our wood cook stove that is for heat and for food. We're going to talk about energy sources and emergency preparedness and clothing and bedding. So as Mr. Rueffer, he's going to give you, explain how things are supposed to work and maybe some things that he's going to do better.
I want to tell you a little bit about our water system for our off-grid house, the way I had planned. Of course, we have our windmill, which is back in the background. You can see it. We have our standpipe to where it's like 25 foot in the air, and it is piped over to this tower. And it's a 3,600 gallon tank. My idea was to have this full, and we would have water to supply our off-grid house here for the duration of our storm. I had a few shortcomings. I don't think this tower was completely topped off, but it did last through this week-long storm, and we were very fortunate for that. Here is I had this outlet that goes into the house. I wrapped it at the first sign of the storm coming, and as you see, I just used what I had available at a pretty quick notice. I didn't have it, no heat lamp, nothing on it. This is all I had, was just these few bags. But we did leave the water running in the house slightly to keep a water flow going through this pipe, or it would have frozen.
The 2 main energy sources that we are using to fuel the off-grid house are propane, which we top our tank off yearly, but we only use it, it's only to be used for emergencies, and wood. So we did have a good amount of dry wood. At this point, it's just the propane worked great. It is supposed to be used. We have enough to get us through, an adjustment period, but that all went great. The wood, our heat, the propane's just for keeping pipes in the bathroom mainly. And we have an emergency outlet in the kitchen, but we did not hook that up. But the wood is just for cooking and for heat. But we did, need a little bit of heat back in the bedrooms. It was really, really cold. But anyway, we're gonna work on that also.
We just experienced a week-long power shortage and outage. This wood cook stove saved us. It heated this room plenty good for you to survive. I found during this last week that I could have been a little more prepared. I could have had a little bit more drier wood and another stash to draw from should that supply have run out. After looking back over the week, I couldn't get the heater to above 350, but it did. It baked our bread, our biscuits, did wonderful. So we may put this in a smaller apartment and get a little bit larger stove since we have a lot larger family. We kept this stove going at all times, about as high as we could get it. And I would come and check on it when we went to bed. Then I'd get up about twice during the night, come and reload the oven. You want to keep your stove burning at all times, and having coals in there, it's a whole lot easier to keep it going than letting it run out and then have to restart it. It gets mighty cold in here at night.
But it was like, if you could think it was a survival, tool, that was amazing. It's a must-have for off-grid, don't you think?
Yeah. So. This stove is a must-have for an off-grid house. Yeah. You can't survive without it, I don't think.
So one thing I found all week is that it was really important to prepare food in the afternoon and to have dinner served before it got dark, have all the dishes and everything in place. Because once the dark set in, we really didn't want to waste our candles or our batteries, to do activities like do dishes. And so I think it was safer also because, it was really hard to put a candle over here. We're gonna have to, maybe come up with a better idea to see at night if we are having to do cooking. But anyway, just that was really nice because we ate dinner early and I think I lost weight. Sweet, not eating at night. One great thing about a wood cook stove is you can bring your sourdough starter and just constantly have bread going, and it worked out really, really great.
Emergency preparedness is this part of it. I've already told you about needing a wood cook stove to survive and a little bit of propane and some water. Here's a few other things that makes life a whole lot easier should you run out of electricity. We have a special place in this house for all of these items that you can readily go get immediately. We heard of stories from a lot of our friends who said, gosh, I know I've got this stuff, but where is it? I have to go dig it out. And they couldn't find it.
But also, one thing we didn't show is we keep a supply of candle wicks, and we're beef ranchers, so we do keep a large supply of tallow, and we have a lot of different oils around, like olive oil, but there's a lot of things in oils that you can use to burn candles or to make candles, and so that is a resource that we didn't show. But anyway, keep candle wicks around. That is very important. Okay, now we're going to talk about clothing and bedding. I know that people don't think about that when they're thinking about preparedness, but going through this week, I really will be able to fine-tune what I really need to survive in a very traumatic event. So one thing, we have our wood cook stove there, and it did great for heating and cooking. But the bedrooms, this is a really old house, and they're rock walls, so it was not heated. And so it is very important to us and to our family that each family member have a down comforter. because they are very insulating and very, can save your life and make you very comfortable when you're trying to sleep. So I would highly recommend that you purchase that for your family. And so we're going to talk about clothing, which I had for years. I have my boots, wool socks, my Carhartt pink overalls with my jacket, lots of hats, but I did not plan well for gloves. When I would go outside, my hands would get really, really cold, and I don't think you're even supposed to spend much time out in 0-degree temperatures, but we had to because we have livestock to take care of.
Yeah.
But Mr. Rueffer, he could not find his coveralls, and
I slacked off.
it was really,
I don't know where my coveralls
inconvenient. And you really only had one pair of work boots that once they got wet, I mean, it was not an ideal situation because he had to go break ice with an axe. He has a lot of cattle to care for, so make sure to think about your shoes, your socks. And I stayed very, very warm even at 0 degrees with the Carhartt bibs and jackets. But just think about bedding also and blankets, because that is very important, because you might not can sleep next to your wood stove. So maybe that'll help. So as far as the bedding and clothing, I did forget to mention that having several pairs of long johns for each person in your family, oh goodness, that is so important. I had that for myself. And another thing that I think would work well is if you are someone that goes snow skiing, your ski wear would also have worked really well in a situation like this, because it was waterproof and you can wear lots of layers underneath.
As far as off-grid entertainment, as Caren was saying, she wants to have everything done by the time it gets dark. So I found it very rewarding or entertaining to have my domino sets. You can play dominoes by your lamplight, and I found it very rewarding to just read the Bible out loud so everyone can hear. I can reflect on how the true pioneers did their entertainment.
Okay, to summarize, did our off-grid house pass the ultimate test? I would say yes. We were very comfortable. Things went very smoothly. Not perfect, but very smoothly. We actually had a lovely time and very enjoyable. I really had forgotten what it's like to be, completely quiet with all the white noise gone. And I believe that it was really good for me to go to bed early when it got dark and get it when the sun came up. So yes, we're going to continue to improve, but looks like things are really, really in place as far as water, food, a wood cook stove, and heat. I appreciate you watching this video, and ask us any question below in the comments. Mr. Rueffer is a contractor and he does know how to do all of these things. So just ask him below and he will be glad to answer you. From our Texas Hill Country farmstead to you, have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.